Welcome back to part 2 of my IPA tasting, my American non-Californian IPA tasting. And without too much further ado, I think I'll just kind of jump right into it and start with the next one. So, we have here the 400-pound monkey from Left Hand Brewing out of Longmont, Colorado. Really fun place if you're ever in Longmont, Colorado. Left Hand and Oscar Blues, which is another really cool and good craft brewery in America, are right down the street from one another, so you can hit one and the other, which is what Margaret and I did when we were out there a while back. Had a lot of fun. So my little plug for Left Hand and Oscar Blues. They were really cool people there and had a lot of fun. And they make really good beers. They make a lot of really nice, clean beers. Even their big beers, which I find a lot of other breweries can kind of junk up and have a lot of kind of weird flavors floating around in there. Very, very clean beers is kind of the hallmark of the style. Of course, what they're most well known for is the Left Hand Milk Stout, which actually is being released in just a few days in nitro bottles, this new kind of nitro bottle, which I've seen, even though they haven't been technically released yet, and they're very different from the... Sorry, I'm talking to Margaret as I say this. Very different from the Guinness-style draft bottles, which have the widget in it. From what I can tell, they don't have a widget in them. So I think I'm going to have that on the show and maybe do a side-by-side between a nitro bottle of their milk stout and the non-nitro bottle. But anyway, we can talk about that on the Left Hand Milk Stout show. For now, we're going to talk about 400-pound monkey. As I was saying before, there are sometimes the American-style IPAs and then the English-style IPAs. And this one actually says right on the label, English-style India Pale Ale. It's kind of funny. They've got like this, I don't know if I'm using the right word, but like this bodhisattva-looking monkey with 8 arms and little British monkeys on one side. One of them looks like, you know, a gentleman, and then another one's a copper, a bobby. And then on the other side, there's guys in turbans and with jewels in their turbans. So, you know, I don't know if that's racist or not, or prejudice, but it's funny. Little funny cartoon monkeys. Always good for your beer enjoyment. Anyway, this beer is 7 weeks old. So, again, very fresh beer. Under 2 months, and I think you can't go wrong with an IPA. Man, Max's, I've lost them. Again, I mean, these beers are pretty consistent in their colors. I'm surprised. So far, the flavors have been kind of all across the board, but always bright, always a golden orange color, and somewhat of a good amount of carbonation with a nice kind of head on the top. Interesting. This is much more kind of grainy, bready, woody flavors. I'm not getting a ton of hops here on the nose. Not a lot of aromatic hops. Smell that. Is it me? Are you getting a ton of hops there? I mean, I'm getting some.
No.
Yeah, right. So you're getting a little bit of these earthy, woody hops. So maybe what I said at the beginning of last show is bogus. We'll see. I don't know if I've had this beer before. I'm sure I have, but I don't recall. But maybe it is a true English-style IPA. All right. Plenty of hop flavor there, but it is restrained. There's a bit of an astringency too. So let me take you through what I'm tasting here. Hold on. The first thing I get is really kind of a hop bite to it. So it's a bitter beer. It's got some nice kind of orangey flavors to it as well, kind of like a lemon orange thing going on. Light bodied. It's funny, the bitterness hits you up front, which usually it's like the last thing that you taste, but I was getting it early here, and it's just kind of sitting there and lingering on my tongue and growing a little bit. Very drinkable beer. I do kind of like the play between the hops and the malt there. Certainly balanced, and certainly using these English-style hops, which are more kind of spicy and herbal, a little earthy than the American style. It's a decent beer. I certainly like it more than the Harpoon, but maybe a little bit less than the Brooklyn, so I'm going to give it an 89. It's a solid beer, and I do think it's definitely an IPA to style, but the funny thing is, in today's hop-crazed world, I mean, I just think the style has really been kind of hijacked a little bit and skewed. So is it what I expect when I get an IPA? No. Is it by the books and what the BJCP would say is their guidelines of an IPA? Yeah, probably is. But if you're looking for that big, juicy hop flavor in an IPA, no. If you're looking for something sessionable and drinkable that will go with a lot of food, then yeah, maybe this is more up your alley. Next is Tyranina, which I think is another first for the show. They are from Lake Mill, I think it's on the front. Yeah, Lake Mills, Wisconsin. And this is one that isn't quite as available as some of the others are, but if you're in the Midwest, I think you can get it, and I think they have pretty good distribution. This is their Bitter Woman IPA. I'm gonna give myself a little rinse, and this beer is quite fresh. This is 3 weeks old, so bottled on December 22nd. It is now Friday the 13th, actually, of January. So, you know, about 3 weeks there. And Bitter Woman. I'm guessing this one is going to be quite bitter. All right. A little bit darker than the rest. This one's quite orange. Again, very clear, no haze at all. I don't know if they use any finings or filtration on any of these beers, or pardon me, or are not, but they certainly look like they could be. Really nice looking beer. Good amount of carbonation as well. Nice kind of soapy white head. See if I can get that nose whistle going as I really kind of stick in there. All right. Kind of mild citrus, subdued citrus going on here. Some orangey, maybe going into a tangerine, something like that. Nothing as crazy as papaya, mango, or like peach or something like that, but it's hinting at it, and I like it for some reason. It's nice. It's got a lot. For something, I kind of found myself kind of enjoying what I was smelling and wanting to find more in there. It's not an overly complex nose in terms of the hops, but I like what they're going for. It's also not in your face. It's restrained, but I like it. Certainly, really not getting much of the malt as well. It is all hop, but it's good. It's good. So this beer is not quite as bitter as I thought it was going to be. It does have that nice orangey marmalade flavor to it, but it's lighter. It's certainly not heavy. All these beers have been dry, so I'm saying marmalade, but you know, I'm meaning more of that bitter marmalade, how they have the sweet marmalade and then the true kind of British style bitter marmalade. So that's more of what these are. This is he okay? This is a pretty subdued beer for an IPA. It's so I do get, again, kind of like the Harpoon, I think it was, or no, I'm sorry, the 400-pound monkey. I'm getting that bitterness a little bit more early here, and it's melding very well with the malt. I do actually get some of the malt here as well, kind of a nice biscuity flavor, which goes well, you know, almost like marmalade on a biscuit, and it's good. So you two have me really out of it. Yeah. Doing your own little thing over there. As I ramble on about marmalade and biscuits. I like it. It's also not overly bitter, very drinkable, and I'm going to go probably 91 with this one as well. I like it. It's got a little bit more going on for me than the Brooklyn. and I think it's got a nice, really bitter orange flavor to it. Even the bitterness on the back end is playing well with the malt, and the hops kind of melded well with the malt, and then the malt is going well with the bitterness at the end, and it's just a really kind of continuous flavor as it changes in your mouth, and I like it. Rather than just being stair-stepped, it's just kind of nice, kind of gentle transitions, and I think that's really the sign of a well-made beer. In fact, I might even go a little bit higher now that I'm saying all this stuff. I'll go 92 with it. I do like this Bitter Woman, and this is one that I definitely would find myself going back to. And who knows, this is also one of the freshest ones we've had. I think this is the freshest one we've had so far, so, you know, we'll see. Up next is, in fact, I'm gonna switch these around. Up next is the Big Sky Brewing. They're just their Big Sky IPA. They're out of Montana, not sure exactly where, Missoula, Montana. They've got some interesting kind of like nature or woodsman based. What's this say? Set beer goggles to stun. Interesting. Interesting kind of nature-based beers. The one that probably sticks out, if you guys had it before, have seen it, you'll remember the Moose Drool, which is their brown ale, which is actually a pretty good beer as well. But their IPA gets a lot of acclaim across the beer nerd sites like Rate Beer and Beer Advocate. And this beer is, again, it has a best by date, not a bottling date. So I'm putting this beer at probably about 2 to 3 months old, maybe as far out as 4, but my guess it's probably really 2-month-old beer. Certainly should be tasting fine, and already I can see it's the darkest one we've poured yet. A lot of head, too. So, copper beer, almost like fall leaves. Really, really nice, kind of red, burnt colors. Nice looking beer. And really kind of creamy foam to it as well. Looks like it's more highly carbonated than the others. A lot of hops going on here. Piney, like earthy, not earthy, like wood. Like almost, not quite a cedar, but like fresh chopped wood and pine and outdoorsy flavors are going on here. A little bit of floral element as well, kind of like just a simple kind of white flower, something like that. Really nice. And a nice kind of sweet malt backing if you really kind of go in there and see what else you're smelling. Nice. Nice. Best smelling beer yet. Nice beer. Really good beer. Still trying to just see how this beer kind of finishes. Okay, so this beer is several months old, like the Harpoon. Thank you. But the hops are holding up just fine. So at 2 months at best, 4 months at worst, you're still getting plenty of the hops. They're still popping. They are really wonderful. It's not that tropical style, but it is just a really, really nice woody pine flavor. A lot of those spicy herbal qualities to it. Just enough malt in there to make it work. It's definitely about the hops, mild on the bitterness, but then again it comes through, and at the end your mouth is really left with just that lingering hop flavor to it, and you get a little bit of that malt backing and also a nice bitterness as well, which kind of makes you want to reach for another drink. I think that's one of the things that a bitterness should add to the beer is something that makes it more drinkable. You know, you want to take another sip, you want to take another bite of food. It's just something that kind of lends itself to it, and it helps kind of clean the palate a little bit too, or the carbonation. It's more highly carbonated as well. Very nice beer. Yeah. Really great fruit flavors as well. I keep going back to that orange, and that is here, kind of like a resinous orange here, not quite a candied orange, but a really nice bitter flavor to it. I like it a lot. I'm gonna go 94. Is that what I give the Ranger? 94. I gotta go 94 plus then, because it's definitely in first place. This, I believe, is the first time I've had the Big Sky IPA, and I like it. I like it. If you're into that that flavor profile that I was talking about, where it's not necessarily the tropical hops, but certainly hops in abundance, then check it out. The Big Sky IPA doing very well. And last but certainly not least is the beer that our friend Bill sent us. Thank you very much. Cheers to you, Bill. I appreciate it very much. I appreciate everybody who sends us beer. So yeah, he's happened to send me some beers from Delaware, which is where he's from. We had a Delaware show last time, and I don't know if maybe he wasn't too happy with our choice of beers that we had on there, but we took what we had. This is the number 3 India Pale, or the lot number 3 India Pale Ale from Evolution Craft Brewing in Delaware. This is from Delmar, Delaware, which I believe is in southern Delaware. Is that right? And I've been getting a little bit of chatter about them. You know, maybe they're the next Dogfish Head coming out of Delaware. This from the Best By date appears to be about a month old. So again, a very, very fresh beer. Thank you again, Bill, for looking out and getting us such a nice one. This comes in at 6.8% alcohol, so right about where you're expecting an IPA to be. Maybe a little bit on the higher side. Man, I'm still getting these like really nice bitter orange flavors from that Big Sky. Really impressive. All right, so this one, the first non-brilliantly clear beer we've had. So it's a clear beer. It's a nice orange color, just a hint of haze to it. Not that that bothers me at all. And in fact, a lot of times with, hop matter can actually lend haze to it. And sometimes brewers just have to make a decision. Do I want to, use filtration or finings to get that beer really clear, but it may also take away from the hop, or do I want a vibrantly clear beer, or are the hops more important? Personally, I'd rather have a beer that tastes the way the brewer wants it to. And this is not a hazy beer. It's just not as perfectly clear as the others. Way floral on this one. Really, really floral. Grapey. It's got like a grape leaf flavor to it. Not quite like grape bubblegum, but like grape juice and really nice clean green leaves and flowers. Very different from the other ones, and I can't get away from that grape. Here, smell that. You getting? What are you getting from that, Margot?
Yeah, grape and herbs.
Yeah, it's nice. I don't know, like spice to it as well, maybe like a white pepper or something like that. Yeah, grape flowers. That's what I'm going with. Waiting for this beer to kind of finish. Okay, so didn't really finish. So you get that huge grapey flavor. I wonder if they're using like Nelson Sauvin hop. That's the one I really think of when I think of these big grape flavors. Interesting beer. A lot of really cool hop aroma to it. An interesting take on the IPA, going completely differently with their hop profile from any of these. None of these really went super tropical. I think you'll get that more on our California IPA show. These guys were sticking more to the resinous, herbaceous, pine maybe, hops in some cases. And this guy is doing something completely different. Very, very cool. I really like it. It's a little watery. I just want a little bit, it's a little thin on the mouth. I would like it to just have a little bit more going there. I don't know, it just tastes a little bit watery. The hops flavor is just in abundance. Not a lot of malt there. The malt bill is very subdued, and the bitterness is also pretty subdued as well. I was kind of sitting there waiting when I was pausing, just kind of thinking, I was waiting, okay, how is this beer going to finish? And it didn't. So it just kind of is a big hop punch right up front, and then it's pretty much gone after that. There is a little residual bitterness, but it reminds me of a beer that I've talked about on the show before, which I don't think I've actually tasted on the show, so now I've talked about it twice, I probably want to have it. This is the Daisy Cutter, where that's an American pale ale, but the thing about that is it's all hops up front and then it just drops you off a cliff. So it's just hop juice, basically. This is the same way, but instead of those big grassy flavors, with some of those big IPAs, this is that grapey green flavor. And a little bit of a kind of like I was saying, peppery flavor as well. Yeah, so I really like the one note they're going for. I appreciate it. I like that it's different. It's not a complete beer to me. It really drops you off a cliff, and that first hit, if you're not going to really finish gracefully, has got to be stellar. It's good. It's not stellar. I'm gonna go 89 with this one, 88, 89, somewhere in that range. I think it's a good beer. I think if they tweaked the recipe just a little bit and gave it a little bit more malt going on there, a little bit bitterness, it could be really, really something special and very unique. But that said, if you guys are somewhere where you can get some of this Evolution Craft Brewing Company beers, I would definitely check it out. I mean, there's something to be said just about, having 6 different IPAs and then having another one and having it be completely different. That's kind of fun. I mean, that's part of why people like to try different beers. So thanks so much, Bill. I mean, really the most unique entry into it. Like I said, just got it today, so kudos to Bill. And thanks, guys. Let me know what you thought. Aside from missing out on the California beers, what other IPAs do you like? There are so many out there, and it was really hard for me to narrow it down to just 6. At first, I was going to do the entire country, but I said, just too many. I was having like 4 of them from California, so. Did 2 shows of IPA, just scratching the surface. Everyone's got their favorite. Please let me know which ones you guys like, or if you've had any of these, what you feel about them. Leave a comment on craftbeertemple.com or also on Facebook and on iTunes. Thank you guys for the ratings and reviews you've been leaving lately. I really appreciate that. But until next time, I've got a whole bunch of IPA to be drinking, and hopefully you do too.